We need to increase the rate of character learning from 1 character an hour to between 10 and 30 characters an hour. If we can do that, we can reduce time to literacy from somewhere around 3,000 hours down to just around 100 to 300 hours. How are we going to do that?
I've learned more Chinese in few hours than French in 3 years.
Welcome to your platform. Now, this looks very different to any sequence in which you would consider teaching Chinese characters. However, there is a method to the madness. We need to speed up the rate to between 10 and 30 times the current rate of Chinese character learning. You can start anywhere on this map. It's completely up to you. And the sequencing will change over time based on feedback. But just for now, let's look at Wang or King.
Wang. 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 I am your king. Kneel before your king.
Wang means king. It's also the most popular surname in China, meaning it's the most used surname on planet Earth. Wang means king.
Wang.
Okay, cool. Now your students have 2 things, quite different things. One is the visual information, these 4 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4. These 4 lines. Visual information, it's a visual language. And they also have this ANG sound, this Wang, Ang from Wang. And we're going to do 2 very different things. We're going to deal with the visual information separately than the pronunciation information. And you're going to see what we mean. So if we step in here to visual building blocks, we're going to now leverage the knowledge they've gained memorizing these 4 lines in order to maximize cognitive efficiency. Here we go. So, where's King? There. King.
Wang. Kneel before your king.
Okay, cool. Now, if we just add this extra little dash, Jade.
Jade.
By building Jade around this King character, suddenly Jade is instantly memorizable, as is
Owner or host. I own everything.
Now they're hyper aware that this dash, when it changes position between here and here, we end up with a totally different character. Okay, great. Now we can scramble them. Shuffle. Okay, where's King? King. Now where's Owner?
Owner or host.
Where is Jade? Jade. Okay, great. Now let's see what Jade is in as a visual building block. It's here. Treasure.
My treasure.
Okay, it's also in
Kingdom or country. My kingdom, my country.
Okay, cool. Now they've seen Jade reused as a visual building block, and they're beginning to get the sense that there's a value to learning these visual building blocks. Similarly with Owner. Owner's here. Here it is. Live or stay somewhere.
I live here. You can stay.
And it's also over here. Stationed somewhere. Perhaps as a reporter or soldier. Now, right about now, you're thinking, I'd never teach these characters in first class. But why not? These are the numbers. These numbers you can see below. So 309. So in a frequency analysis of Chinese characters, Zhu is the 309th most used Chinese character. Wang is 299. Zhu is 87. Bao is 811, Guo is 20, etc. So 1288, you might say that's a little bit of a far reach. 1288, 1288th most used Chinese character. But it's put in here very deliberately because what we want to do is train learners from day one, their very first contact with Chinese characters, to look and read these visual building blocks. So when they see the difference here, the difference is a horse versus a dude on one leg. So, let's go again. King. Nice. Then we have Jade. Jade is in treasure. Jade's also in
Kingdom or country.
Cool. There we have Owner.
Or host. I own.
Owner is in live or stay somewhere. And stationed somewhere. Great. So now they have all of these down. Why do we put this guy in? Well, because it's almost the same as Zhu. Ma. But it's flipped. So not only do we have to train them to read recyclable visual building blocks. We also have to train them to memorize their location within a 2D structure. So here it's horse on the left and it's owner on the right. And all of a sudden, horse is on the right. It's not owner, it's king, the original king on the left. First syllable of Mary or Maria.
Maria.
So now by contrasting these two and looking at this entire lineup, they get the sense that recyclable visual building blocks have value, and it's important to remember exactly which ones it was. Was it owner or was it king? And it's important to remember their position, their geographic position within this 2D structure. Was it on the left or was it on the right? Was it on the left or on the right? So now when we begin to play the multiplayer games, you're going to see the reasoning behind it. So let's go with invaders. Find the characters you've just memorized. Now the sequence is locked here because what we've done is we've hard coded in king.
Wong.
We've designed
Kneel
it.
before your king.
We've designed it so you see the build up. King, there's Jade.
Jade.
And Jade is in treasure. And
Kingdom or country? My treasure. Kingdom, my country.
okay, now we get to owner.
Owner or host. I own everything.
There we go. Live or stay somewhere.
I live here. You can stay.
And stationed somewhere, perhaps as a reporter or soldier. And finally, the slightly different flipped one. First syllable of Mary or Maria.
Live or stay somewhere.
How you feeling, guys? Total concentration.
Now, that will have taken all of about 5 minutes. So they've gone from 0 Chinese, if they're total newbies, to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 characters in about 5 minutes that they can visually recognize. Now they have a decent appreciation of the value of recyclable visual building blocks. They have an appreciation of their reading exactly which ones it is within a character and the orientation, the position within that 2D structure. You will have noticed we don't have the pinyin here, nor do we have the Chinese pronunciation. And we've done this quite deliberately. We want to make the most efficient way to learn Chinese characters and spoken Chinese. And we're going to separate them temporarily because pronunciation hints, these side phonetics, only work about 39% of the time, which is really pathetic as a system. And so we have to be really, really clever and come up with interesting systems in order to teach Chinese in a very efficient manner. So for the moment, we have separated the Chinese pronunciation from the characters themselves. So total English-speaking newbies can easily master this because they're dealing with the English interpretations of what these characters mean. Okay, let's move on with these multiplayer games. Now, this one is a step up. This is single player demo, so we're just going to see the single player demo version.
Live or stay somewhere.
Whereas if you have a bunch of students
Live or stay somewhere.
if you have a bunch of students in the classroom logged in,
Live or stay somewhere.
they will have all their characters here. We have to get live or stay somewhere, or we
Live
will
or
die.
stay
Get the
somewhere.
right pipe or die. Okay.
First syllable of Mary or Maria.
There we go. Which is it? Which
First
is it?
syllable
Now,
of Mary or
straight away
Maria.
they're stress testing their
First
knowledge
syllable
on
of Mary
which character
or
is it?
Maria.
Owner or host.
Owner or host? Owner or host? Now they should have that. Oh yeah, okay,
Owner
cool. Now
or
we're just going to go
host.
wrong to see what happens. Let's run in here.
Owner or host.
And uh-oh, I got the wrong pipe. Dead. So this is an excellent game for now stress testing their knowledge based on this lineup of characters. Now let's move on. So unfortunately this only works in multiplayer, so it's only going to work on the teacher's screen if you have students within the classroom who are logged in on their own devices. And it's fun. It's a level up from this in terms of stress testing their knowledge. It's a load of fun. We can view it later. Again, this only works in multiplayer. This is where those characters randomly get pushed to students' devices and they have to shout them out to their teammates in order to save their team. This is fun, and it gets them visually recognizing, getting comfortable enunciating which characters they're talking about. And now we're going to go to translation. Now, what you'll find is total newbies can easily deal with this. So we're looking to translate king. We have 3 options. Don't get the wrong one. Here's our clue if we need it.
King.
One.
Okay.
Kneel before you.
Now let's see it in some real world sentences. A prince is a king child. Need a hint again?
King.
Oh, there it is.
One.
Okay, queen, woman, king. Oh, okay, cool. Old Wang. Now they're seen as a surname.
King.
One.
Okay, teacher Wang. Wang 老师. Cool. Pro level gamer, big king.
King.
Okay, cool. Mrs. Wang. Let's move on. Jade. Oh, I've forgotten.
Jade.
Okay, there it is.
Jade.
Jade utensil. Easy. Valuable or treasure?
Treasure.
Oh, yeah. There it is. Now, they're getting extremely comfortable with looking at Chinese characters. And you can use this as a discussion page where you're talking about the real world usage of like bao, bao, bao. Okay? You can introduce the Chinese pronunciation if you wish, but there's no need yet because we're getting towards a really efficient way to introduce the pronunciation of them. However, this is all about real-world context and the subtleties of the language, and this is where your native appreciation of the language itself, your native knowledge of the language itself will come in very handy. Kingdom or country?
Kingdom or country?
Okay, yeah, okay, China, okay, America, France, England, boom, great, go to China, choose what? Excellent, go to America, I'm thinking of going to China. Now, they won't have any issues recognizing these, and they'll have built up a sense of context.
Kingdom or country?
And now
Kingdom, my country.
they view this as probably a part of a country name, as in China, America, whatever. Okay? International, 国际. Okay, entire country, 全国. Domestic, foreign, owner. Okay, owner, forget that.
Owner or host.
Oh, yeah.
I own everything.
Now, as they progress through the newbie Chinese system, they'll be able to actually read these out in Chinese more fully as they go, essentially. And so on, main or major.
Owner or host.
To
I
owning
own
or dominant
everything.
want, etc. People's ownership. 民主. Director or chairman. 主任. Okay, cool. Live or stay.
Live or stay somewhere.
I live here. You can stay.
So now we have taken them from zero Chinese to being quite comfortable dealing with zero opinion in Chinese real world phrases, and they can pick the correct one. Okay, which makes things very, very interesting and makes them very, very comfortable with Chinese characters. Okay, they've expended cognitive energy memorizing these 4 lines. So let's get a little bit more creative with how to build a very efficient system for dealing with Chinese. If we just look at this as 4 lines of knowledge, then it's very easy to say, okay, sorry, one moment. Here we have Jade. Jade is in 4 in the top 3,000 Chinese characters, 1 in the top 500, which is Guo.
Kingdom or country?
And we have these numbers down here, so we can see Yu is not actually that valuable as a building block. Zhu is slightly more valuable, 6 in the top 3,000, 4 in the top 500, so it's actually reasonably valuable itself as 87.
Owner or host? I own everything.
Cool. But now, if we go to something like Jue. Now, Jue, as a visual building block, it's in 38 of the top 3,000 characters, which is insane. It's a lot. Now, typically what happens is learners encounter these not in one go, but completely at random and unconnected with one another. So what they have to do is they have to memorize this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 line structure each time, each of 38 times in the top 3,000 Chinese characters. And that just makes Chinese impossible. But if we have a way of dealing with this Jue built on visual knowledge that we've already memorized, then it becomes so much easier and it becomes a single instance we have to deal with. And then in those 38 of the top 3,000 Chinese characters, we just see this single instance of Jue. Now, they don't even need to know Jue, the pronunciation. They just need to know this structure, because Jue as a pronunciation hint doesn't really work. Okay, so
This is the hopper host. It's the host on a hopper. The hopper host.
okay, so now they have a very familiar name they can use.
You'll always see it with ren on one leg.
Okay, so now it's the hopper host. Okay, these two little bits together. And why? I mean, look, it's king, but it's not king, it's owner.
Or host. I own everything.
And it's now owner on a little hopper. Boom. With ren on one leg. Okay, so now when it comes to who? Who are you?
Who's that?
They just have to read two visual building blocks. This hopper host and whatever this is. They may not know yet. This yen. Okay?
Push.
Don't push me.
Okay? Hopper host and a hand. Okay?
Difficult.
It's difficult. Is that difficult?
And so on.
Assemble.
Assembly point. Behind the tree.
So this is why giving names, and now as we go in and play these system of games,
Find the
you'll see
characters you've just memorized.
it builds up as we go. So we have
King.
cool.
Owner or host. Kneel before your king. Everything.
Who?
With increasing levels of complexity.
Who are you?
Don't push me. Who's that?
Standard, normal, or allowable.
I'm allowed. Is this normal?
Difficult.
It's difficult.
Maintain or preserve.
Is that difficult?
Assemble.
Assembly point.
Now again, this lineup probably took all of 5 minutes. And your students will power through these. Now they won't have the Chinese pronunciation once again, but again it's another 5-minute stint, and they have another 8 characters, or let's reduce king and owner out of it. They have another 6 incredibly complex characters from the outlet, now made very simple for them. And as they go and play the games and they get to translation, let's skip through everything to do with Wang and owner. Who is he? They're like, I can't remember. Now they're revisiting that
Who are
knowledge.
you?
They're like, oh yeah, it's the hopper host.
Who's
It's the
that?
hopper host with this guy, which I don't know yet, but it's there. Who knows?
Who?
Oh yes, I got it. Push. I can't remember.
Push.
Oh, it's the hopper.
Push me.
It's the hopper host with a hand. I got it. Recommend. Push recommend. Okay, real world context. 推荐. Postpone. 推迟.
Push.
Don't.
Cool. Prepare. Get ready.
Standard, normal, or allowable.
I'm allowed. Is this
Okay.
normal?
So now they're seeing real world context where it doesn't fully mean its original kind of emoji state, but it's like norm equipped with the norm essentially. Normal, 准备. Okay, so now these are the subtleties of the language. Standard, mark, normal. Cool. That makes
Standard,
it
normal.
makes a weird kind of sense. Punctual or on time, normal time. Got it.
Standard, normal, or
And what they do from this is difficult. Very difficult. And so on and so on. English grammar is very difficult.
difficult.
It's difficult.
So now
Is that difficult?
instead of completely panicking, they're looking for this emoji within, or this character within a phrase, and they can recognize it. And as they go, we can build up their ability to recognize more and more of these characters. So their fluency in Chinese gets more and more and more able. Okay, now that was with Jue, which in theory is a nameable Chinese visual building block. However, when it comes to something like Big Nose, this has no name in Chinese. Okay?
When I look up, you'll see my big nose.
This is Big Nose.
You won't see Big Nose on its own, but you will see it in things like responsibility
You're not my responsibility.
and eyeball.
Eyeball.
Okay,
When I look up, you'll see my big nose.
so this visual building block is now tied to
King.
Why not? It's this king with the big nose or pointy spike sticking out the top of it. And now all of these, this suddenly has this name that they can apply to it. Similarly with bunny ears. Again, a visual building block with no name in Chinese.
This is bunny ears. You won't see bunny ears on its own, but you will see it in things like ginger, cake, and ginger cake. Just don't confuse it for goat or sheep.
Yang.
Try and spot the difference.
Okay, so now in things like ginger or American.
American or beautiful. American. American.
Okay, now they're just spotting the difference visual building blocks, da and nu. And as they build up their ability,
Cake. To cover.
okay, now all of a sudden this has a value. Now, and with goat and with 5. Let's look at 5 for a second. If you have king, why not learn 5?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ooh.
Woo. 5. That U is a real oo. Woo. Woo. 5.
Now, if you've already memorized king, 5 is typically the first character they get confused at in number counting. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so if you have it, they have it now. It's king bent over on a little stick.
5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ooh.
Okay, so now we're just talking about extreme efficiency. So when it comes to something like
Ring. My precious.
when it comes to a Huan, this never would have been read as a boo in the past because it comes from its previous iteration was a Huan, which looked completely different and had several different earlier versions.
Play.
I'll play you.
Okay, so now they have a way to deal with these characters and spot the difference, and they're trained now to see exactly which visual building blocks were where and exactly where they were within this 2D structure. Now let's go back to Fei for just a moment. 7, here we go. Now if we get a little bit creative, we can even include things like
Fei. A negative machine. I'm not here. It is undoing me.
Fei. Fei means on something. It's also shorthand for Africa. Afrika, shortened to just Fei. Fei.
It is undoing me.
Fei. Fei on something.
Okay, cool. So here we have it.
On something.
It is undoing me.
Fei.
So
it's
now
also shorthand for Africa.
So now it's forever linked. It's essentially king with these 2 bars that space apart. Now they have no problem remembering this, and they can reuse Fei now in things like
Coffee. Fei. The Fei from cafe.
Okay, or
Guilt or crime.
This is a crime.
okay, or
Line up.
Line up.
okay. So as they go now,
The name Fei.
Fei. So as they go, they'll see they can. Let's get through king here. Wang, commonly South Africa, and they're like,
On something.
It is undoing me.
okay, it's on something.
It's also shorthand for Africa.
So maybe this is South and Africa. Cool. North Africa. Oh, I know that. Yeah, cool. Uncommonly good.
On something.
Here's a different
It is
context.
undoing me.
非常好. Okay, coffee.
Coffee.
Yes. There it is. Commit a crime.
Guilt or crime.
Yes, it does have that. Yeah.
This is a crime.
Got it. Okay, king.
King.
Okay, and so on and so forth. And that's how we're using something like a Wang to visually analyze a whole ton of Chinese characters and make an extremely efficient way to memorize these visual structures. And in the next video, we'll talk about what we're doing with the pronunciation wise and how we're making a very efficient pathway to know how to pronounce a whole ton of Chinese characters in one go.
Let's see.
We'll also talk about digital text input.
Nice. Nice. Nice.
As well as handwriting, and how you can catch issues with stroke order from one single student within an entire class.
It's so enjoyable, and like you just get to do so much, and it keeps your brain on the spot. Oh, which one is it?
And I like the way it's really competitive.
It is pretty competitive.
It was so good.
You thought it was so fun?
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
It was really interactive.
Yeah, it made it learn. It was very interesting.
Yeah, it was very fun. It was easy to learn.
Yeah, easy to learn. Would you do it again?
Yeah.
Would you do a whole day of that?
Yeah.